Ladies and gents, welcome back to another day in history, a segment here on the Real Leel Show where we talk about a sporting event or a major event that has took place on this very day. The goal of this segment is to educate the listener as well as myself on things that have impacted the world as we know it, and also for some people to relive what they or I have already experienced. On this day in sports history, January 15th, 1965, Wilt Chamberlain was traded to the 76ers. Wilt Chamberlain is known to many NBA fans as one of the most dominating players of all time. Multiple scoring titles, having led the league in scoring for 7 straight years, from 1960 to 1966. In the 1961-1962 season, Wilt Chamberlain averaged 50.4 points per game. He scored 100 points that season, a record yet to be broken. He also led the league in rebounds in 11 of his 14 seasons. In fact, having collected 42 rebounds against the Boston Celtics and 55 rebounds in 1960, which is the record to this very day. This is before the modern game in which frantic pace is normalized, which makes it easier for records to be broken. On this day in sports history, January 15, 1965, Wilt Chamberlain was traded from San Francisco to the 76ers for Coney Durkin, Paul Newman, Lee Shafter, and $50,000 cash. Wilt Chamberlain was sent to his childhood team. Having grown up in Philadelphia and playing for the team he was ultimately drafted by, which was known as the Philadelphia Warriors, who drafted him in 1959. Yes, the Philadelphia Warriors, a team that moved to San Francisco in 1962, taking the biggest NBA star with them on the move before changing their name to the Golden State Warriors that we know of today. This team was sold by Eddie Gottlieb to a group of investors who moved the franchise to the Bay Area. The 76ers were left without a team until 1963, when the Syracuse Nationals moved in as the 76ers. In the 1964-65 season, despite having Wilt Chamberlain, the Warriors sucked. They sucked. As a team, were 11-33 during the All-Star break. The team had a lot of financial struggles and needed to reduce Wilt's massive salary. And they faced the reality that even with a guy like Wilt Chamberlain and his individual dominance, it wasn't translating into team success. Around the All-Star break is when they made the trade with the 76ers, who were 21-19 at the time. Wilt's stats were phenomenal when he got traded, with him winning 3 consecutive MVPs in 3 seasons with the 76ers, who he went on to lead the team to a championship in 1967. In this day in history, the great Wilt Chamberlain, one of the more dominating players of all time, was traded to the 76ers in 1965.
Missed it. Dennis fights for the rebound, tapped it out, and it belonged to Minnesota.
He kicked the cameraman. He was really upset. Really upset. Went up in the air, came down on the camera. You thought he sprained his ankle.
Well, there's all kinds of equipment right there, and the cameraman.
There's a struggle for it. He comes over there on the camera. He steps on the camera. That's what he was upset about.
Also, on January 15th, 1997, the polarizing Bulls NBA star Dennis Rodman kicked the cameraman. We all knew Dennis Rodman to be a wild boy, from changing his hair to multiple colors, to being best friends with King Jong-un, to having a ton of nose and facial piercings, even down to wearing a dress to promote a book. But nothing would prepare us for some of his on-the-court theatrics, like the infamous regular season game at Minnesota. The Bulls forward was stumbling out of bounds trying to claim a loose ball when he was tripped over the legs of a cameraman named Eugene Amos. Rodman, who at the time thought he sprained his ankle, took his frustration out by kicking the cameraman in the groin. This led to the cameraman having to be carted off the floor. Somehow, Rodman stayed in the game and was not even given a technical foul. The NBA commissioner at the time came down on Rodman. He gave him a 11-game suspension, which cost him $1 million along with the additional $25,000 fine. This was largely in part due to repeated offenses by the NBA rebounder, which included a 1996 game in which he received a 6-game suspension for headbutting an official. A week later, Scottie Pippen came out to defend his teammate, saying, "Some courts are pretty tight. You don't really get a lot of leg room to work with. Dennis is a guy who likes to make dramatic things happen on the floor by diving for loose balls." This day in history, January 15th, NBA star Dennis Rodman kicks a cameraman. Sports, politics, conspiracy theories, we are here to give you our unique perspectives on things happening in the world. It's the one and only, The Real Leel on The Real Leel Show.